Hey guys and girls, sorry I could not be there with you today. I am not feeling well. I would still like to be able to teach you, so I'm making this video for you, and hopefully it is easy to follow and we can still all learn together. If you have any questions, you can write them down maybe on a sticky note or on your worksheet, and we can talk about them when I get back, or you can email me. So this is investigation 2.2 of the bike tour, and it is titled Finding Customers. We're still working with variables, and we have our tour operators, the 5 college students, who have already planned the route. They've chosen the bike shop that they want to rent the bikes from, and now they just have to figure out what price they want to charge for the tour. So they went out and they asked people, how much would you be willing to pay to take the tour? Keeping in mind that they want a price that's low enough that people will come take the tour, but they don't want to charge too much that nobody will show up. So they also are thinking when they do this that they want to make a profit. So this is the book page, and it says they want a price high enough so that the money collected from the sales of the ticket income is greater than the money that they spend, the expenses. If the income is greater than the expenses, the business makes a profit. So here's the initial challenge. It says the partners conduct a survey to help set the price. They ask people who have taken other bike tours before what they would pay for their planned bike tour. And they ask the question like this: if we set the price of the trip at $500, would you take the trip? And then they ask, would you take the trip if we charged $200? What if we charged $150? So then they arrange the data in a table. So this is really what happens. They ask, looking at the table here, 76 people if they'd pay $150, and all 76 people said, yes, we would pay $150. Then they asked those same 76 people, would you pay $200? And 74 of them still said yes. Then they asked those same 74 people, would you pay $250? And 71 of them still said yes. So they kept asking those same people, and they kept raising the price. Well, what if we charged $350? What if we charged $400? What if we charged $550? And at $550, 14 people said, yes, we would still take the tour. So then they said, what if we charged $600? And that's when all of those people said, no, we would not pay that much money. Okay. So on your worksheet, I'm going to have you write at the top a prediction. I want you to make a prediction. What price do you think the tour operators should charge? Explain why. So just pause for a minute here. Write that question at the top of your paper, and then explain why you think that would be a good price. So you can use the numbers in the table to help you make that prediction. And then I'm going to turn my screen over to your worksheet so that we can talk a little bit more about it. Okay? Okay, so hopefully you've had a minute to think about your prediction. And I know the screen is smaller here, but it still has your table on it. And then it's asking you to take a look at your table and make a graph. Okay? So your book page is saying, Malcolm thought a graph might be easier to use to make a prediction about what price to charge. And we want to take a look at this graph and see if we can figure out which variable is the independent variable, which variable is the dependent variable, and see if we can take that information and now make a graph with that. All right, so here's what I'm going to have you do. Down at the bottom of your paper, I'm going to have you write some more notes. I'm going to have you write what I have here. I'm going to have you write down variables. I'm going to have you write down independent. Where is it located in the table? Where is it located on the graph? And then I'm going to have you write the same thing for dependent variable. Where is it located in the table? And where is it located on the graph? And I'm going to see if I can make this screen even bigger for us here while you're taking those notes. Might be as large as it lets me. Let's try this. Okay. So then I'm going to have you add some notes to that paper. And go ahead and pause if you need to so you can catch up. Looking at our table helps tell us what the dependent and independent variables are. Our table tells us that we're working with two different variables, and I can even scroll back to our book page here. We have total price and number of customers. And we know, because we've talked about this last week, that whatever comes first in our table is our independent variable, and that is also what goes on our x-axis. We also know whatever comes second in our table is our dependent variable, and that will go on our y-axis. So I'm going to have you take those notes, and this is what your notes will look like when they're finished. You will have price as your independent variable because it's on the left side of the table, or that's what comes first. And it goes on the x-axis. So you can see I started labeling my graph and I put total price on the bottom on the x-axis. Then for dependent variable, I have number of customers. It's on the right side of the table, and it's also on the y-axis. And you can see on my graph that I have put that on the y-axis, number of customers. And I apologize that this is poor quality video. I am working with my Chromebook because I did not plan on being home. So I don't have a webcam on my computer at home. So sometimes you just have to roll with it and use what resources you have. Okay. So the next thing we have to do, and you again can pause if you need to. Next thing we have to do here is make sure that we can number our graph. So looking at the numbers in our table, we know if price goes across the bottom, it looks like we're working with 150 all the way to 600. I cannot just start my graph at 150. I have to go from 0 to 5s, 10s, 15s, 20s, 25s, 50s, 100s, something that I can skip count by, but I cannot just skip from 0 to 150. So I tried with my graph to see what would work, and you can see that I numbered mine by 50s. I started just taking my pen and counting by fives to see if that would work, tens, and it ended up that I had to go by 50s to get all the way to 600 and have it fit on my graph. So go ahead and do that with your graph. And again, you can pause if you need to. And then we're going to have to figure out how to number the y-axis. Our table tells us we're going from 0 to 76 for number of customers. This is very important that you know that you cannot just take the numbers in the y-axis and say, I'm going to number it 0, 14, 26, 38, because there is no pattern that we have that skip counts like that. So we have to skip count by 2s, 3s, 8s, 12s, something that gets us a pattern. I decided when I looked at mine that I could skip count by 5s. And so that's what I chose to do. And if I skip count by 5s, I can get all the way up to 80, which is perfect because I'm going to have to say that I have 76 customers. So my y-axis goes from 0 all the way to 80. And I'm going to go ahead and add a y here, just so that we remember that's our y-axis. And here is our x-axis. Okay, so now you have everything you need to go ahead and successfully graph those points in the table. Remember, when you go to graph that you're going to go over x and up y. Over x and up y. So this is our x, this is our y. So if I go to graph one of my points, let's say I want to graph the very first one. My price is $150 and I have 76 customers. I'm going to go with my total price, $150, which is across the bottom, total price, $150. And then I have to follow that up to 76. So over 150, and then follow it up to where 76 would be on my graph. And that's going to be that first plotted point right there. So I'm going to have you stop the video, take some time to plot those points, and then at the very bottom of your paper, I gave you another question. I would like you, when you're done graphing, to answer this conclusion question. Which price should the 5 college students charge and why? Thank you for watching, guys and girls.